You want to know the 3 things to focus on? Health, relationships, and money. Why health? Well, because without health, dude, you'll give up all your money to get it back. Trust me. Why relationships next? Because when you go to die, you're not thinking about your money. You're not thinking about your cars. You're not thinking about your businesses. You're thinking about your relationships, dude. That's what all of a sudden you start to realize. That's what matters in this world are people and relationships. It ain't things and money. So I focus on that next, and then the third one would be money. Why? Well, because with more money, you can have better health and you can have more relationships. And coincidentally, with more relationships, you get more money. So it's like this cyclical thing. The richer I get, the more friends I get. Man, thanks for having me. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, dude, I think people fail because they don't have the right information. I mean, nobody's choosing to fail, right? Nobody's choosing to not make enough money. So you have to be.
No one's choosing to fail, right? I mean, they just don't have the information on how to win.
Yeah, you have to be aware of how to win in order to win. And a lot of people that aren't winning, because is the majority winning or losing? Quick question. The majority's losing. So in my mind, it's like, dude, how do we stop this? How do we reverse this to where the majority's or the minority's losing and the majority wins? Well, it's getting the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means I think the reason people are failing is because they don't have the right information. So we got to get the information from the people who have it to the people who need it. And so when you ask a question, what information? All of it, any of it, the shit that matters. How to invest in real estate, how to not lose your ass, how to have a better relationship, how to lose your big fat roll. Like, how do you get out of our own way and win? That's all that information. That's my goal, is to get it transferred from one to the next. And by the way, I might change it to get it from the people who have it to the people who want it. Because, like, dude, I'm getting, everyone needs it. The question is like, do I got to cram it down their throats, or are they willingly seeking it?
Yeah, I think that's a point that's valid, is that you have the information. A lot of people I'm around, I can help them tremendously with a few little points, but they don't want it. They're happy, they're content. So yeah, inspiring them to want to grow, I think, is a big part of what you're talking about.
100%.
You have a massive social media presence or following. How did you get there? Like, let's say there's folks out here listening right now. They want to impact more people. They want to connect with more people. How do they go about doing that? How did you do that?
Well, there's several questions you just asked. The one, how did I do it? You talking about build a personal brand?
Yeah, maybe that's what it would be, or just your social media, Facebook and Instagram, the presence you have, the people you've attracted, the eyeballs that are listening and tuning into what you're saying.
Well, number one, I would call that building a personal brand. So I have a little method that I did, started about 4 or 5 years ago. Took about 4 or 5 years to get 1 million on Instagram, real ones, nothing bought. I didn't do contests. I didn't do giveaways. Just posting value, right? Or at least comedy. Maybe it's not value, but it definitely is comedy. So I posted a lot of value over the last 4 or 5 years. And then, people notice when you do that. Most people won't do that, which is why they never get noticed. They'll do it, but not long enough. They'll do it, but not funny enough or more interesting enough. Or they'll do it and they won't do it for long enough, like consistently enough volume. Like, you can't post once a day. People say, I post once a day for 6 months and nothing happened. Well, no shit. Like, I posted 3 to 4 times a day per channel, 6 main ones, every day for 5 years.
Wow. That's good stuff. So you said I posted a lot about you. Is that what you said? Did I hear that right?
Posted a lot about you.
Oh, okay. You're just saying I just posted a lot. I thought maybe you were saying I post a lot about you, meaning other people. I thought you were maybe posting content of other folks. No, I didn't hear that right.
No, I post a lot. In other words, you asked me how to build the brand. You build the brand by posting a lot, by putting out value, right? And letting people see you, be you, and putting out a lot of content. 3 to 4 videos a day times 6 different main channels.
Got it. Did you have a team doing that, or did you do it yourself?
Well, I do it I have a team doing it, but when I started out, it was like 3 people. Now there's probably 20 people.
Oh, wow. Okay. Did you have a goal where you're like, hey, I'm going to go build a social media brand, a personal brand? Was that a goal from 5-6 years ago? And what instigated that? I mean, what were you doing before that?
Well, what instigated it was I saw a couple of my clients build a personal brand because I helped them do it. And I watched the impact that it had on them, their business, and others. And I thought, well, dude, I'm funnier than they are, or I'm cooler than that person, or I'm freaking better than that one when it comes to this, that, and the other thing. Like, why am I not out there? Why is my hat not in the ring? What makes me so much worth less? And I thought, nothing. So I thought, I'm going to do it myself. So I started doing it myself. Which, by the way, is really the key, because everyone listening to this could do it themselves. They're just not. And that's the question. Why aren't you building a personal brand? It's either you don't know how, which I'll tell you how, or the other one, you don't think you're worth it. That's the only two reasons people don't do things in life. They don't think they deserve it, or they don't know how. That's my belief. Maybe there's another reason.
I love the black and white. I'm a very black and white person, very crystal clear. It's either, works or doesn't work, A or B. This is how you do it. Get same results, same actions. Do you take on people to build their brand? Is that something you do?
No.
The company does?
No, but I do have literature and courseware and content around it to where I've told people how to do it. You just got to dig around in my content. I tell you, I've already told you.
Got it.
But I'm not like a brand builder trainer or anything.
Okay, you're not a mentor, and this is how you build a brand. That's not part of your business.
It's funny because a lot of people say that I should build one, and maybe I will. I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's very simple to do. Okay, you got to come up with a source of your content, right? The source in my case is like I have a podcast, very popular one, by the way. I have I have employees. I have multiple businesses. I have a freaking very interesting family life. I've got all kinds of things going on to where those are the sources of the content. And then I train people to be the content. See, too many people are trying to figure out what to post rather than post it themselves. So a lot of people are always like, dude, you're always behind your desk. That's because I'm always behind my desk. Dude, your camera's always on. My camera's always on. My camera's on right now, as is yours. So even though this is your podcast, I'm still recording it. Why? Well, because I'm talking. And if I'm talking about anything to anyone, that's me. This is me. This is what I do. So guess what? I'm filming what it is I do. So they have me to choose from. Now, who's they? That's the team. The team will then go grab that content for the day. And unfortunately, somebody has to watch it all. Thank God that's not me. I just had to do it all because it was me. Someone has to watch it all. And then that creative team figures out, oh, he said this, it was funny. He said that was funny. Hey, this happened. This is awesome. And then they'll chop it up, drop it, and put it out there. So that's the machine that's happening right now.
Gosh, I love that. I'm upset at myself right now. How many podcasts have I been on, interviews I've been on? Never once have I filmed myself.
Why?
All the content you're putting out, maybe you had to say something cool, but I don't say as much cool stuff as maybe you, but every now and then I say something cool. Can I use the content and somehow push that shit out a little bit? And it's like never crossed my mind once till right now, so I appreciate that.
And by the way, it doesn't always have to be cool, dude. Like what you just said was worth sharing with your followers because you just learned something. So now guess what? We're getting the freaking knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. Who cares that you just found it? You got it now. How do you share it out there? And that's why people follow me, I think, because I give life lessons. I talk about shit they're probably going to experience, and that's why people like following me.
So I follow you. I love it. Okay, good stuff. Let's change a little bit here. What is the Real Deal Lease presentation, and what does it do? I was reading about your bio a little bit more here, and it says Real Deal Lease presentation. What is it?
The Real Deal Lease presentation, believe it or not, is how it all started. It's how it all began. This thing right here.
The Real Deal Lease presentation, okay.
Yeah, and if you guys are hearing this audio, I'm holding like a 8x14 little kit that you can open up, and there's DVDs inside, or CD-ROMs actually. And I went around selling this before I started my company. This was the company. This even says DSA, which is Desert Sales Academy, interactive CD-ROM, the real deal lease presentation. We were going to sell that to car dealerships and teach them how to convert people to leasing rather than financing, which, again, it's a smarter way to do it. Most people didn't like leasing because of the open-end leases. I developed a way to close people just like this, and so that was called the real deal. I copyrighted it and then went out and sold it to car dealerships, and then that led to my multi-million-dollar software company, just through, transitioning from starting out there and ending up there.
So it's a sales class, educational.
The real deal lease presentation is a presentation that I taught salespeople so they could convert customers that were looking at cars to convert them from a finance to a lease.
Wow, awesome. How long ago did you create that?
That's been about 35 years now.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So right now there's dealerships all over the country with salespeople using the real deal lease presentation.
It's awesome, dude. I love it. Okay, got it. Your podcast, Dropping Bombs, it's for entrepreneurs. It sounds like it helps struggling startup, scales your business. Based off of your years of being in business, what's the most common mistake you see folks making when they're starting and trying to scale their business? We're trying to move to scale our business. We've only been around for 7 years.
The biggest mistake is usually people begin to scale when they don't have systems and processes mapped out and or documented, so they just end up scaling chaos. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to scale chaos. That's how come some companies, never get, big, because they only get to a certain point and then they can't seem to scale. Well, scaling a business is fairly easy. You got to focus on two things. Well, actually three, but two things mainly, which is people and technology. So in that technology stack, you've got CRMs and various software that keeps you organized and keeps your processes documented and keeps your people trained and informed, et cetera, et cetera. But in that tech stack, so it's either you're not using the right, software, you don't have the right tech stack, you don't have the right processes, you don't have the right systems, or you don't have the right people, or both. And you're never going to scale unless you have the right people and the right tech stack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. You guys, listen to this right here. This is important information. It's so simple too. It's not really that complicated, right? You got a business. Do you have the right systems to take on 10 times, 15 times, 100 times more work? And do you have the people to handle it? Do you have the organization? I mean, it's really some pretty basic information. Doing it obviously is going to take more time, and doing it successfully is probably even less likely. But the information, at least you have a clear roadmap now on the things to be watching for and thinking about. What about Lightspeed VT? You've got a lot of different irons in the fire. What is that? And for listeners that don't know, what it is, maybe talk a little bit about that as well.
What is Lightspeed VT?
Yeah.
Well, Lightspeed VT is what this morphed into, the real deal. It's what morphed into it, because I was going around trying to train people. People would call and say, hey, I need this one scratched, this did that, and I had a guarantee that if that didn't work at their car dealership, I'd give them their money back. Well, a couple of them called for their money back, and I couldn't see if anyone actually went through the material, because the disclaimer to get your money back is all employees must be trained on this thoroughly. And so anytime they wanted their money back, I would just have to go see if they were actually trained. Well, that got old for one reason or another, and I said, man, I got to put this online. This was back in '99 when no one was training online. So I said, I'm going to put this online so I can track people. And then I'm realizing that if they're logging in to the internet to go through the content, and I can track everything, if they don't want their money back, I can press a button and see who trained and who didn't. And if they didn't do it all, then there's no discussion. So that accountability was seen by a manager, and they're like, so why can't I see, my people, whether they're training or not? And I said, well, I could give you that access. Boom. And then it just keeps evolving. And now Lightspeed VT is a web-based interactive training and communication system that allows you to create, deliver, track, and measure interactive content, interactive video. with leaderboards and all this, community and, discussion tabs, forums, moderators. You can do all kinds of stuff with Lightspeed. But Lightspeed is a web-based interactive training system.
And so what I'm hearing is you started a product and you're like, damn, here's a problem. Let's evolve. So you guys listen to that too. You started a company, had some sort of issue, couldn't track it, adjusted a little bit, came back with a new product, started selling that at a different, I'm assuming, cost or maybe a similar cost.
No, it was a recurring cost. I licensed it. I got in the licensing game and found out how rich you can get when you're licensing. I don't sell the system, I license it.
Okay. Give us a little more information. What's the difference there? License sell.
Well, I have two different kinds of licenses. One is subject matter experts like Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, John Maxwell. Like you keep naming these people in the industry, Mike Ferry. A lot of the big name speakers and trainers are using Lightspeed, which is a training technology, to train various people, whether they be real estate agents or whether they be, factory workers or even sometimes, consumers like the public. Just depends. Like people buy Tony's training, just regular people, not at a company, and then companies buy it to train their employees. So depending on the license that you get would determine the licensing fees. But licensing just means they're paying repeatedly. So every month they're sending me money of some kind. Depends. Like Grant Cardone, for example. It got to where he's sending me about $1 million a month.
Just trying to take this in. So instead of selling the program for $50 million,
I stopped selling the program. I started selling the platform so they could deliver their own program. Nobody wanted my program except car dealerships. So I just sell my program in the system to car dealerships, but then I sell the other trainers, right? Assist this system so they can go do that with their own content. And then some people want to do it with their own content, so I just sell the platform.
Huh. Wow.
Like right now, Dan, I guarantee you got some information that a lot of people would probably need, and if they had it, like you do, they'd do better than they're doing now. Well, all you do is create that course, create that curriculum, drop it in some sort of training system, not just a video. A lot of people just want to go sell a video. Here's how I did it. Watch my video. Videos don't necessarily train people. I watch mixed martial arts, doesn't make me a black belt. That's because videos don't train people. A training system trains people. It has to be a system. Repetition, practice, accountability. Like there's things that are involved in training that watching a video is not in. Now again, repetition, practice, and accountability have to be involved or it's not training, it's just exposing. So a lot of companies are out there exposing their people instead of training their people. And they're wondering why they can't grow and scale.
Yeah, gosh. If you have a couple minutes after this is done, we're in the middle of creating a course that's going to be, it's something real estate. I'll just ask you one or two questions to see what you would do as we're in the beginning, getting ready to decide which.
You already know what I would do. You already know what I would do. I would get a hold of Lightspeed VT and go with them. Because basically you're about to go sell courseware is what you're telling me. And if you do, there's a bunch to know. And I damn near invented the space. And I guarantee you'll make more with me than you'll make by yourself, no matter what.
Cool.
But you have to be on Lightspeed for us to consult you.
Okay, good. So all you listeners, when you're ready for this, go to Lightspeed and look them up. Hopefully I can talk to you for 5 minutes and understand better how we're going to roll our course out.
But don't go to Lightspeed TV. Go to Lightspeed VT. TV you don't want to go to. Do not go to lightspeedtv.com. Go to Lightspeed VT. Yeah, backwards.
Let's get a little vulgar, like Viagra titties. That would be kind of maybe the way to remember it. VT. Okay?
Virtual training is more accurate, but yeah, you can use Viagra and titties.
Okay, I figured if Brad's here, that would be like the way that he'd probably try to get you to remember it.
No, I usually say Victor Thomas.
Victor Thomas. All right, you got it. Good. Okay, good. Well, that's awesome stuff. I appreciate that information. Jump into your book you wrote. You wrote a book called Lessons I've Learned the Hard Way.
Yep.
So you don't have to learn, what would learn, or you shouldn't have to make those mistakes. What are the 2 or 3 lessons that you would share with our listeners that could help add value to them today?
Well, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it boils down to a couple of things. Like, here, I'll teach your listeners how to get anything they want in life. Is that valuable?
Extremely.
Okay, and by the way, it's anything you want in life. There is no limitation. This is how you get it. Number one, you figure out what it is. Right? You got to figure out what it is. Too many people do not know what they want. It's not as easy as you think. Oh, I want to be rich. That's not what you want. What do you want to be rich for? What is rich? What does rich look like to you? Not to me, not to your brothers, not to society, to you. So it takes a little work, but you got to figure out what it is. We clear? Step 2. Now you just figure out how to get it. Right? Now, if you guys think, well, no kidding, that's the hard part, which is indicated by your chuckle. Yeah. That's the easy part, Dan.
Okay.
Okay, that's the easy part. Figuring out what it is the hard part. Figuring out how to get it is the easy part. Like, you want me to tell you how to get anything you want? You just find someone who's already done it, who's already got it, who's already achieved it, and you ask them, what'd you do? Okay, then you do step 3, and that's do the work.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so figure out how to get it. You find someone who's already got it. And then you ask them, what'd you do to get that shit? And then they say, well, I did this, 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 and this. Well, then now move on to step 3. You do the work. Now, a lot of people quit at doing the work because they don't really want what they claim they want. They're just claiming that they want it. They don't actually want it. Because if they actually wanted it, doing the work is nothing. Like, if I just took your kids and you knew that they were going to die a horrible death unless you did this, this, and this, you wouldn't think halfway through, geez, we can make more. I mean, we can have more kids. Like, you just wouldn't even think. There'd be no question. You wouldn't even question doing the work. You would do the work because you know you want the outcome. If you don't know you want the outcome, sometimes you end up not doing the work. You start doing the work and you go, man, this is uncomfortable. This is not very fun. Oh, really? Who said it would be fun? Who said, I didn't say all this will be fun. I told you exactly how to get it. And here's how you get it. You figure out what it is. Then you find someone who already has achieved it, and you study them and you find out what they did. Okay, and then you do the work. If you do those 3 things, you'll get everything you want in life. Now there's a 4th one, and it's called make adjustments. That's paying attention. That's what I did with this CD-ROM that transitioned to a, multi 8-figure freaking software company, that does business with, massive names you've heard of and a bunch of names you haven't. Now, how did I evolve into a software company? I dropped out of high school at 16 years old, brother. It's like I'm not supposed to be in charge of multiple companies. I'm like a 6-time CEO. And I dropped out of high school in the 11th grade. Now I've got a couple of PhDs, a couple of MBAs. People are like, wow, that's impressive. How'd you do all that? I said, I just hired them. Because you don't need degrees when you can hire them.
And spoken well, Robert Kiyosaki, whole thing, I'm a C student. It's encouraging for those of you kids or people who are listening, young folks who are listening, older people who are listening. You didn't have the college degree, you didn't master Harvard. You can hire the folks. You don't need to be that person.
Yeah, you don't need anything except a little bit of guts and a little bit of what I would say common sense. Now,
where did you grow up, Brad?
Now, here's the 3 things. I grew up in Oregon. Here's the 3 things that you need to pay attention to. Mindset, skill set, habits. If your mindset's messed up, you're probably done. If your skill sets are weak, you're probably not getting where you want to go. If your habits are poor, now you're poor. That's for sure. So, let's examine your habits. You know what I'm saying? Let's examine your skill sets. Let's examine your mindset. Do you got a shitty mindset? And if someone's already thinking, that's not my mindset, well, then you got a shitty mindset. Because guess what? It is about mindset. Okay? It is 100% about mindset. Like, dude, I wake up every day with an advantage over the entire world because most people don't think like I do. They don't have the same perspective as I have. And the reason they don't is because I realize that there's zero amount of money that I would trade to not wake up. In other words, like, waking up is more valuable than all the money in the world. So if I would get excited for finding $10 million, why am I not excited for the day? Why am I not waking up with the same enthusiasm as someone handing me $10 million cash? Because if you just said, Brad, I don't know if you know this, but my name's Dan and I'm a billionaire and I heard you the other day and I love what you're doing. I just want to give you $10 million because I love you. I'd be like, woo! Like, and dude, I got some money. It would still excite me. You see what I'm saying? Like, it would excite anybody. Well, if $10 million would excite you so much, how come you're not doing that every time you wake up in the morning? Because you don't appreciate the day. You don't have the gratitude. So when I wake up, I automatically think this is worth more than any amount in the world, and I try to get myself to feel the same as I would if someone handed me $10 million. And all of a sudden, I start smiling, and I bounce out of bed, and I'm ready to attack the day, and I realize this is going to be a great day no matter what happens. The only question is how good will it get? Why? Because I get it.
Yeah. Dude, that is so powerful. That is so good, ladies and gentlemen. Take that in for a second right there. Rewind it and listen to it again if you have to. What a gift. Like, you get up, because I got up this morning, I'll be honest. I got up and I was a little bit bummed. I don't know why. I didn't work out. Actually, my 1-year-old was crying. I had to rock her back to sleep from 4:30 to 6:30. My wife slept in because she was up all night. And then at 6:30, I'm just kind of like blasé. But dude, right here, take this thought, create this habit, and realize what it would be like to get 10 million. That's great. You'd be super, super stoked, of course. You just woke up. It's worth that.
Yeah, a baby crying wouldn't bother you if you got 10 million handed to you. Like, if you opened your eyes and I was sitting there with a $10 million cashier's check, you knew, tax-free, it's all yours. Dude, you would freaking be smiling from ear to ear. You'd be like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. You'd be up, baby be crying, you'd come in, what's wrong, little buddy? Come here, little buddy. Like, let's go. We're going to go get you some shit. Like, whatever. You'd be fired up. So how come we're not fired up then?
Simple stuff, you guys. These habits, it's simple stuff. Just trick the mind. Let me look at this.
Do you value waking up more than 10 million?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so now as of tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and you're going to remember this, whether you want to or not. You're going to think of me. Why? Because I'm the one pointing it out to people. Matter of fact, my buddy the guy I had on my podcast, he is my buddy, but he's not my buddy, but he just texted me yesterday and sent me a video that's going around. There's millions of views on it of me talking about this. I just put it in a different context. And he said, Dana White just shared this with me and a group of friends because he's friends with Dana White. And it's me in that video talking about this exact thing. So it's like, dude, listen, it's just a perspective, man. When you wake up and you realize that, which you're now awake and you do realize that, your perspective changes about everything. You know, things that used to bother you won't bother you anymore. Why? As long as you keep going back to what I'm talking about. When things are happening that are challenging, you know what I think? In my head, I get excited because I realize that is the universe or God, whoever you want to, blame it on. That is the universe weeding out the undeserving.
Mm. What do you mean? Give us some more detail on what you mean exactly by that.
Well, repeat what I said first.
Getting the 10, having that mindset is weeding out
the
people that are deserving. Yeah, let's give it again.
When things get tough on me,
yep. Oh,
I get excited about it. I like it. Why? Because I realize that that's just the universe or God weeding out the undeserving.
Because you are having the difficulty and they are not, because they're coming down on
you are having difficulty, which means you are being tested to see if you deserve.
Okay. So there you go, another mind trick right there. If things are tough, if you have that habit that you're being weeded out, do you deserve or not? You're being tested right now.
If I'm being tested right now, bro, shit, you already know I deserve. And by the way, why do I feel like I deserve so much? Why do I feel like I'm so valuable? Who the fuck am I to think like that? right? That's what there's people thinking right now listening to this. Who is he? Who am I? Like, dude, thank you for asking. Allow me to introduce myself. You see what I'm saying? Like just because I like me doesn't mean you can't like you. And that's why people don't really think they deserve much, because they're so worried about other people's opinion because they don't value themselves enough. So they seek everybody else's validation and everybody else's opinion. And that's a recipe for disaster. You know, if you're sitting there so worried about what everybody else thinks that you're afraid to say something or do something, guys, you need to go fix the relationship you have with yourself, especially if you want more money in life. Because, Dan, think about it. All money comes from relationships. Every dollar you've ever received has come from a relationship. This is a fact. So if you want more money, wouldn't it make sense to go get more relationships? Is that rocket science? Okay, so how come you're not getting more relationships on a daily basis intentionally? A lot of people in the world, they're not. They're meeting the same people every day, all day. They don't meet many new people. Why? Well, because they were taught to lay low, fly under the radar, keep your mouth shut. You know, there's all these things that we're taught growing up. Everybody's out there trying to learn what it takes to be a millionaire. Sometimes it takes to unlearn what you learned. Like, you don't need to learn anything. You need to unlearn some things. Okay? And you need to unlearn all the limitations and the nonsense, because mindset, skill set, and habits are all you need to focus on to win in the life. And then you want to know the 3 things to focus on: health, relationships, and money. Why health? Well, because without health, dude, you'll give up all your money to get it back. Trust me. Okay? Why relationships next? Because when you go to die, you're not thinking about your money. You're not thinking about your cars. You're not thinking about your businesses. You're thinking about your relationships, dude. That's what all of a sudden you start to realize, that's what fucking matters in this world, are people and relationships. It ain't things and money. So I focus on that next. And then the third one would be money. Why? Well, because with more money, you can have better health and you can have more relationships. And coincidentally, with more relationships, you get more money. So it's like this cyclical thing. The richer I get, the more friends I get. And people say, well, those aren't always friends. See, those are like pessimistic, limited mindset people. Listen, you ever heard the saying, I got enough friends? Dude, you'll never have enough friends. If you're trying to succeed in life, there's no such thing as having too many friends. You want everybody your friend. Who's everybody? The whole planet. You want them to be your friend. If the whole planet was your friend, folks, you are set beyond wildest imagination. You can heal people. You can solve problems. You can do things. Why? Because because the whole world likes you. The whole world is your friend. You ain't gonna. That's not realistic. But then why are we listening to people say I ain't looking to make new friends. I got enough friends. You know, I need to make some money. You need to make some money because you don't have enough friends, or you don't have the right friends. Huh? If you had the right friends, you wouldn't need anything. Right? Mm-hmm. Right or wrong?
100%.
Okay, so you're hanging around the wrong people most likely, or you're not hanging around the right ones. One of the two is the facts. Now, people want to start denying that, and I say, go look in the mirror, sunshine. Because at the end of the day, I just tell the truth. And the truth is something that's kind of evident once you hear it, but you don't really think it unless you've heard it. What is that? Well, that's just a different perspective. So I've got a different perspective than people. And that's why I think I succeeded even though I dropped out of high school. That's why I succeeded even though I probably shouldn't. You know, they say you can't party and you can't do this and you got to grind your face up. Bullshit. I've partied. I've done it all. And I'm still successful. Why? Because I don't listen to the bullshit. You got to freaking get rid of all the idiots and the nonsense and the negativity, because what goes in your mind will grow. It doesn't care if it's good or bad. It will grow whatever you put in there. So you're putting negative shit in there, that negative shit's going to grow. You put positive, huh?
Yeah. Where do you get your content? How do you build this mindset? Because clearly, you guys, you can hear when Brad's talking about, it's not like he's over there thinking. It's a habit. These thoughts just kind of come automatically for him. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Where did you get the content, and how are you like, yep, that's the content I'm going with?
I make it up. I learn it. I realize it. I create it. or I agree with it. Because again, I mean, we get content from all kinds of people. You know, I always tell people, if you listen with your eyes, you'll see all you need to hear. You've never heard that, and if you have, I made that up. If you listen with your eyes, you'll see all you need to hear. What does that mean, really? Well, that means actions speak louder than words. I don't want to hear about it. I want to see you do it. Don't tell me, show me. Mm-hmm. It's all the same. But I said it my way, and my way is listen with your eyes, and you'll see all you need to hear. Mm. Now, if you've heard that, guaranteed 1,000%, either someone else thought of it too, because that is possible, or you heard somebody repeat something that they saw on my wall, because I got it in my green room at Lightspeed, and you know, they've heard it somewhere along the way, probably my quotes, because again, I got quite a few quotes out on the internet that are credited to me. There's one that's not credited to me, which I authored, which is, well, there's several of them that I don't think get credited to me. Like, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. Does that make sense?
Let's go through that once a little deeper. So if you don't sacrifice, if you don't put in the work for becoming, let's just call it a professional snowboarder. I have a snowboarding career. If I don't become that snowboarder, the sacrifice becomes snowboarding.
Let's say you want to be a snowboarder.
Yeah.
But you don't want to sacrifice to be a snowboarder.
Yeah.
Well, then being a snowboarder is the sacrifice.
Yeah.
So if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice, which means that you're going to sacrifice either way. Why not sacrifice with the shit you want?
It's pretty simple. When you break down the truth, it's always pretty simple.
Hey. If I had a bomb right now, I'd drop it. You are 100% correct. When you break down the truth, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. It's getting to there for most people. The cobwebs get in the way, it seems to be, including me.
Hey, including me, dude, including me. I might be sitting here blowing your mind like, oh, I've never heard this. Well, that's because you probably don't follow me. I don't know how I even got on this show, but, you know, at the end of the day, if you do follow me, you had to have heard it or you ain't listening, because I'm saying it all the time. It's like, dude, I'm trying to get the knowledge from the people who have it, and I'm included in that group, to the people who need it. Now, I'm also included in that group. Okay? I need it. You need it. We all need it. Listen, if you want to change what you're getting, you got to change what you're doing. If you want to change what you're doing, you got to change your beliefs, because the reason you do what you do are from your beliefs. So how do you change a belief? You have to get new information. Just like if I taught you as a little kid that fire doesn't burn and you can run through a door, you would eventually stick your hand in fire and smash your nose on the door. But as soon as you did either one of those, you would get new information, right? And you'd change your beliefs. You'd realize fire does burn and I cannot run through the door.
New info gives new beliefs. So if you want a new belief, find some new data, new info.
100%. See how easy that is? Hey, I read every single day. I'm seeking information every single day. I need information to get better and grow more. Now, that's the need side. I'm also the person that possesses knowledge. I can show someone how to scale a business pretty easily. Why? Well, because I've founded and created multiple 8-figure companies. They're like freaking popcorn to me. It's easy to do to me. I can close deals. I can teach someone how to sell clothes and persuade like it's going out of style. I can give people jobs to make $300,000 to $500,000 a year on average and the information to do so. But I'm not going to go do it for them. Like, dude, I can save someone from drowning, but they got to swim towards me. Now, that's this group over here, the people that have it. So my mission in life was what you started with is I want to get the information from the people who have it to the people who need it. That's why I'm on this podcast, because we know you certainly didn't pay me, did you?
I think we did.
No, I don't think you did. And if you did, I got to have a word with my team because no one told me. Okay.
No.
The question is why am I on the podcast? Well, dude, number one, I'm trying to get the knowledge from the people who have it. And sometimes that includes me, to the people who need it, which also includes me. That's my point. We guys, we're all in the same category. There's people that need it. There's people that have it. The question is who are you listening to? The people that need it or the people that have it? Because we all need it technically. So you could be listening to Tony Robbins. I guarantee you, dude, Tony Robbins needs some new information. Tony Robbins does not know everything he will know by the time he dies. Tony Robbins is still learning, is masterful as he is, and all the knowledge that he possesses. All these people are still learning. Zig Ziglar was still learning up until the day he died. If they're smart, if they have any credibility. Why? Well, because if you say you know everything, you're full of shit. You're instantly full of shit, and no one should listen to you anymore.
Yep, good stuff. Okay, good. I want to wrap this up here.
Now, Dan, I don't know if you know this real quick, but this might be the most valuable episode you've ever dropped in your entire life. I told people how to get anything they want, and that is the legitimate truth. Anything they want in life. I showed people what to focus on specifically, and I showed people exactly what to focus on if it's not happening. If it's not happening and you're broke and you're disgusted and you're lonely and you're sad and you're in the wrong relationship and blah, 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 or any degree therein. Guys, it's your mindset, it's your skill set, or it's your habits. So now you know where to look. Now you know what to go fix. But guess what? If you go look in those areas and you lie to yourself, which we do, you may never realize you suck. You need more practice. You need to learn. You need to get a book. You need to get off your ass. Your habits are terrible. Your mindset is garbage. You're a negative, lazy douchebag.
What I like about this episode is as I re-listened to it, I've been taking notes over here. I hope you guys have as well. But if I can just take 2 or 3 things and implement it and make it a habit here from what we talked about, Brad, my life will be infinitely better. My emotion will be a lot higher. My emotional happiness will be at a whole new level. If I just put that 1 or 2 habits into place with getting out of bed and remembering, it's just like you got $10 million, dude. My cousin just passed away. She's 53 years old, died of cancer. She's not here anymore. Really good reminder that every single day is so precious. Get that energy up. Get that mindset up. Good. Okay. Last question here is, I guess, with people wanting to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to go about that, Brad?
Well, number 1, get your checkbook out if you want to get a hold of me in person. But no, seriously, you can just Google me. I mean, I'm all over the internet. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, everywhere and anywhere. You can go to bradlee.com. And by the way, that's L-E-A. Brad Lee, L-E-A. People say, is that Leah? And I say, I don't know. Do you drink Tia?
Oh, man, I love it. Okay, stay on for just a few minutes here. We're going to wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. An incredibly powerful episode. I had a great time, Brad. Thank you for coming on. I know you're going to inspire every listener that listens to this podcast. Let's break a record, and let's stay in touch.
Likewise. So if the reason you have what you have is because you get what you get and you have what you have and you're with what you're with and blah, 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 blah. If that's true, that the reason you have all that is because you believe what you believe, well, then my question is, what the hell do you believe? Or more importantly, what the hell do you need to believe to get where you want to be?